Hey guys, the Killer Critic is here, so bad movies beware. Well, it's the month of madness, the month of disgust, the month of evil, the month of joy, and of course, I'm talking about Halloween. So, let's talk about the Batman cartoon. The Batman cartoon was a show based around a younger Batman who's in his 20s taking on crime in Gotham. In my book, I think the show was pretty good, but we all know it would never be as good as Batman the Animated Series. At one point, a made-for-DVD movie called Batman vs. Dracula was made. Loosely based off the famous comic book, Batman vs. Dracula takes place in the same continuity as the Batman cartoon, and we're going to take a look at it today. So, let's take a look at the movie that every Versus fan who's always wanted to see these two go up against each other. And no, I'm not talking about Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. This is the Batman vs. Dracula. The story begins in Arkham Asylum. A thug who was put in Arkham Asylum by pleading insanity is talking to the Penguin about a prison escape he planned. Now, this version of the Penguin, I don't think is a bad interpretation. This version of the Penguin has more in common with the Danny DeVito version from Batman Returns, which was less of a mastermind and more of an outright psychopath. Now, I do like the Batman's take on the character, but his voice is a bit distracting when he sounds like SpongeBob trying to be a pirate.
Don't worry about trusting me, old pal. I'm as dependable as the dodo.
The thug explains to Penguin that he's planned a way to escape, but it turns out they may have told the info to the wrong guy.
Talk about having a real screw loose, right?
You told him?
Joker! He's escaped!
That person is none other than the Joker. Now, I have to be honest, I hate this interpretation of the Joker. This version of the Joker behaves more ape-like and is more of a physical fighter than the more manipulative and gadget-wielding character from the comics in the animated series. And I have to be honest, I do wish there was a different voice actor to play him. It's just that something about his voice seems off.
See your point. Partners?
So Batman is alerted to the Joker and Penguin's escape, while Penguin tries to team up with the Joker, but his answer proves to be very shocking. Batman soon arrives to apprehend the Joker.
Show's over.
Something I should also mention is that the actor they picked to play Batman does a good job at sounding like Batman. Hell, I consider him to be almost as good as Kevin Conroy. But Ryan Romero's biggest weakness in this movie and the series is that while he can play a good Batman, he isn't very good at sounding like Bruce Wayne. Kevin Conroy found a balance of the two, which allowed him to morph himself into the role and sound more like Bruce Wayne and Batman. Ryan Romero tries incredibly hard to sound like the Batman, but he forgets that he's also Bruce Wayne. Half the time, I'm wondering how he manages to keep his secret identity safe when he sounds exactly like his alter ego.
Show's over. Alfred, tonight Joker met his demise.
So Batman fights the Joker, and after a short fight, Joker tries one last time to deliver a shocking end to the hero's career.
Almost had you.
One of the best things about this movie is that it doesn't pull any punches. Granted, it doesn't go for a kill-em-all ending like the comic book, but it does take a darker turn than the show, which is a good thing, because this is a story that requires a darker tone. It's Batman vs. Dracula, so of course it should be darker. So Batman heads to the Batcave and we meet his trusted ally, Alfred.
Alfred, tonight Joker met his demise.
And our old friend Cobblepot?
Okay, it's official. That is the most badass Alfred because of the sheer awesomeness of his mustache. Unfortunately, while Joker supposedly met his demise, Penguin managed to escape and heads to the cemetery to discover the money that the thug at the beginning of the film told him was at the cemetery. He heads inside and tries to open a coffin which could contain the money. I thought this was based on a kid's show! So Penguin's blood falls on the corpse, but it turns out that said corpse is the corpse of Dracula. Convenience! With Dracula reawakened, he decides to have an early meal.
Don't do that!
No! Really, Captain Obvious? Dracula notices that something is very different about where he is.
Transylvania has changed.
Yeah, they have a hotel over there. Since Dracula just woke up, he decides that he needs a servant to protect his coffin.
I'm Penguin. I'll be your server.
Talk about the weak-minded. So meanwhile, Bruce is trying to figure out what's going on when several people are now missing. Batman decides to go on patrol when he makes a very surprising discovery. He heads back to the Batcave and explains his discovery to Alfred.
Vampires, Master Bruce? Are you certain you are not suffering from sleep deprivation?
I don't want to believe it either, Alfred. But I know what I saw. Fangs.
Alfred tells Bruce about the corporate party that he's supposed to be hosting, and Bruce heads upstairs to satisfy the guests, when a surprising guest makes an appearance.
And you are?
Alucard. Dr. Alucard.
The guest introduces himself to Bruce Wayne, and Alucard takes a more quiet way to dispatch him.
Please excuse me, I must find...
But Alfred manages to snap Bruce out of it.
I don't remember how I got out here.
A bit later into the party, Alfred notices something surprising about one of Bruce's servants.
Was I not here the first? Oh, dear.
Alfred alerts Bruce to what he saw, and we get a huge twist. The one that no one could see coming.
Whatever are you writing?
His name. Alucard.
What's a twist? Shyamalan? Come on, say it. Bruce and Alfred soon put two and two together and realize that Dracula is causing the disappearances of these lost ones. Bruce soon discovers that vampirism is a disease that can be cured. Now, I will admit, this change to vampire lore is a bit surprising, but I don't really mind it that much, because it allows vampirism to be able to fit in with the lore of the Batman. Meanwhile, it turns out that not only does Batman have to stop Dracula and his army of vampires, but he also has to clear his name so the GCPD doesn't put a bullet in his face. And yes, I just said bullet. The police in this film actually use guns, which allows for a very exciting chase between Batman and the police, which has an interference by Dracula.
To become vampire is to heighten all of one's senses, to attain speed, strength, and immortality.
Naturally, Batman refuses to join Dracula, so a quick fight ensures between the Caped Crusader and the Prince of Darkness. And the fight ends with Batman getting the shit kicked out of him. And I do mean getting the shit kicked out of him. But thankfully, he manages to luck out at the last minute due to the sun coming up at the last minute, which forces Dracula to make a tactical retreat.
The next time, we do not part until maggots feed upon your flesh.
You know what? Why does Dracula get pissed off that Batman refuses his offer? I mean, does he really think that anyone would join him willingly and get turned into the undead? Well, regardless, Bruce survived the encounter and heads back to the Batcave to heal his wounds, and while he's sleeping, he gets a nightmare. Suddenly, a mysterious creature arrives in front of Bruce.
You.
Holy shit! Talk about things that go bump in the night! Okay guys, this is Matt here. I couldn't decide what joke I want to use here, so I decided to just use all of them. Here are all of them. Mommy, I need some new pants! Did I mention this was based on a kid's show? Here's Betsy! So back at the cemetery, Joker reappears alive and well, because he's the Joker, of course, and tries to find the treasure that he believes that Penguin has found, but he ends up finding the perfect way to suck as a villain.
Breakfast in bed. Fresh squeezed.
Oh, that's all you got? Let's try my wisecrack.
Breakfast in bed. Fresh squeezed.
Talk about things that go humping the night. So the now vampiric Joker decides to bank on one of the biggest blood banks in Gotham. Batman arrives to stop the Joker, and we see quite possibly one of the most clever ways to include blood in a PG film. Okay, talk about getting crap past the radar. Dimming the lights and coloring the blood black? Brilliant! So Batman apprehends the Joker and tries to figure out how to cure vampirism through a montage of trial and error. Soon enough, Batman invents the cure, but he realizes that he missed his date with Vicky, but while she is leaving, Dracula arrives to kidnap her. The reason why is because he wants to revive his long-dead wife, Carmilla. Meanwhile, Batman manages to cure the Joker and finds out where Dracula is, and I'm not joking here. He takes on Dracula's entire undead army and comes out without even getting bit once. Bad ass. He fights his way to Dracula, but suddenly,
Human can resist my will.
Batman manages to break free from Dracula's hypnosis and manages to save Vicky from getting her soul sucked out, Dementor style, and Batman battles Dracula, and boy does he receive an ass whooping. As Dracula stands over the half-dead Batman, Alfred tries to cure Dracula.
But no earthly medicine can cure a supernatural affliction.
The wounded Dark Knight makes his escape and Dracula pursues him, but Dracula gets a nasty surprise waiting for him. As Dracula hides in the shadow of the Batman, the latter utters the famous catchphrase.
I'm the Batman, and you're dust.
Oh my god! Let's try to make the scene cooler, right?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Hasta la vista, baby.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
So the movie ends with the people who are bitten by Dracula being cured, Penguin getting blamed for their disappearances, Vicky Vale figuring out that Bruce Wayne is Batman without Bruce knowing, and Batman having his name cleared and standing over a rooftop knowing the great evil he defeated. Damn it, we should have the Bat single. We made for a much more badass ending. And that was the Batman vs. Dracula, and what a kick-ass film. While there are a few plot conveniences and it does make a few changes to vampire lore, the film does manage to make the modified vampire lore work well with this Batman story, and the animation is pretty damn good, the fight scenes are pretty well done, and there are a few genuinely scary moments throughout the film. If you're a Batman fan or a vampire fan, check out this film. You won't be disappointed. So of course, the Batman vs. Dracula gets spared. So guys, the Killer Critic will always be here, so bad movies beware.